For most of the American leaders, it could have been the end of their political career or even worse thanks to the thin line between life and death. In today's show, we shall be looking at the asterisk top 10 failed assassination attempts that could have altered the course of the United States. Abraham Lincoln nearly assassinated. For instance, before the grimly joyous fulfillment of his assassination in 1865, President Abraham Lincoln had a very close call. During one of his trips out to the soldier's home located some 3 miles outside Washington, D.C., he came within an ace of death when a sniper let fly at him and only removed his hat instead. Teddy Roosevelt's bulletproof speech. Teddy Roosevelt was a man of steel, literally. In 1912, during a campaign speech in Milwaukee, he was shot in the chest. But here's the crazy part. The bullet was slowed down by the thickness of the manuscript of this speech in his pocket. Roosevelt, who was badly bleeding, did not immediately rush to hospital, but after delivering a 90-minute speech said, "It takes more than that to kill a bull moose." Franklin D. Roosevelt escapes death. In 1933, just days before taking office, President-elect Franklin D. Roosevelt survived a close brush with death. While giving a speech in Miami, a man fired 5 shots aiming at Roosevelt, but fate had other plans. The bullets missed him, killing Chicago Mayor Anton Cermak instead. It's often debated whether the assassin was targeting FDR or the mayor, but one thing's for sure. This time could have shifted the Great Depression and World War II's course. Harry S. Truman and the White House attack. In 1950, 2 Puerto Rican nationalists tried to assassinate Truman, whom they accused of being oppressive to the Puerto Rican people by attacking the Blair House, which was the residence of the president at that time, since the White House was undergoing a renovation process, having been armed and set with a motive. The attackers were stopped by Secret Service officers before they could reach the President Truman. This moment resembled a Hollywood thriller with gun battle at the president's. Gerald Ford's brush with death. Gerald Ford is one of the presidents in history to outlet not only one but actually 2 assassination tries just within 17 days. The first attack happened in September 1975 when a follower of Charles Manson attempted to shoot the president in Sacramento, California. But, ironically, the gun jammed by some reasons. The second attempt, a woman, aimed her weapon for the president in San Francisco, and Ford was lucky that she was. The Ronald Reagan incident. Gamers will have a chance to meet the historical figure, Ronald Reagan. In 1981, John Hinckley Jr. attempted to assassinate President Ronald Reagan outside a hotel in Washington, D.C. Most people know the shooting happened, but what few people know is just how close Reagan was to dying. The bullet pierced through his lung and was an inch away from his heart, but thanks to his bodyguards and surgeons, he survived and even made a joke to the surgeons. "I hope you are all Republicans." Richard Nixon's foiled skyjacking. In 1974, President Richard Nixon was nearly killed in a skyjacking plan spearheaded by a man by the name Samuel Bick, who sought to crash a commercial plane into the White House, killing Nixon in the process. Unfortunately for Bick, he was shot dead by the police before his plan could come to fruition, and was one of the earliest planes of its kind to be brought down in the United States. Bush Sr.'s encounter in Kuwait territory. The above quote from American history reveals the attempt to assassinate the first president of the USA after the presidency. George H.W. Bush was almost assassinated while on a visit to Kuwait in 1993, in a car bomb that had reportedly been planted by agents of Iraq. But for intelligence groups, the plot failed, and this led President Bill Clinton to retaliate by launching a missile on Iraq. Barack Obama's intercepted attack. Meanwhile, in 2011, a man came firing with an assault rifle at the White House, intending to shoot then President Obama, who was not in the house at that time. But the experience reminded Americans of how modern threats are still real despite the changes in technology. The shooter was caught and put to trial. Andrew Jackson's duel with death. Andrew Jackson is one of the most popular presidents in U.S. history. He had an incredible track record as a military commander and also fought the biggest duels in presidential history, where he fought with death on scene 10 of the prop. The early year of 1835 marked the first recorded attempt to assassinate the President of the United States of America, the President Andrew Jackson. A man went up to the president and fired two pistols at him, and at close range, both the guns jammed. The anger or the fearlessness that boiled in Jackson after the incident led him to charge at the attacker with a cane. The result was that the president survived the attack. Even with all of the failed assassination attempts, we can now see how history can be changed by the blink of an eye. And these people discovered that the hard way from duels to sniper attacks. If any of these events had went another way, the world as we know it would definitely be a very different place. Which failure shocked you the most?